What made you do a DNA test?
It was learning my African side.
Okay.
I didn't know where we were from Africa. I'd gone to Europe and I was in England, and I remember talking with people, and I was saying, they were like, "Where are you from?" I said, "Well, I'm mixed. I'm African Native American," and they said, "What part of Africa?" And I was like, I didn't know what to say to that, like, because we don't know because of slavery and the diaspora. So, and what was funny is that I had already been to Africa, and people thought I was Fulani. I'm carrying flutes, and I look Fulani. Then I found out I'm part Fulani. And then when I did my DNA, I found out that I was Senegalese, Gambian, Togo, Benin, Ghana, Bantu, and migrated Egyptian.
What is migrated?
And the Congo.
What is migrated Egyptian?
It means that that at one point, it's no secret that African people were the original descendants of heaven and earth. So when you deal with Kemet, the land of Egypt and Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Sudan. When I found out I was migrated Egyptian, it was funny because I already had this symbol of my band, which was the original African Indians. And it's an O, and then an A, and then an I. And I created it, and I had it in a dream, and then it turned into this one symbol, which I haven't shown you yet. And it's an ankh, or a key. And it had changed. It was round, and it was more like a pyramid, the top pyramid and bottom pyramid. My sister had done a DNA test, and they ran the test, and we were related to Ramses II. Not like cousins or anything like that, but direct descendants, like grandfathers, because she paid extra for that. A lot of people go against the DNA thing because they say they're going to take your information. If they want your DNA, they can get your DNA off anything anyway. It's not impossible to get these things. I did it because there was a part of me that my African side was just needed to know where my line had originated, because by the time I had done my DNA, I had already lived in Senegal, Gambia, and a little bit in Mali. So for me to learn that not only were the places that I've been to part of my lineage, and I just naturally was taken there, but the Egyptian side, which I was always interested in, Ra, the sun and Horus and Isis, and I've always felt that they were more, I felt closer to them than anything else. And the first immaculate conception between Osiris and Isis, which created the creative spirit Horus, the light of the world, the sun, the light of the world is still here today. So to know I was, and I'm not going to say I'm not the only one. It's just to know that I was closer than I'd ever dreamed. That to know that was a direct connection with me. And there was a meaning why I found when I walked into the British Museum and I saw the statues of Ramses and all this, and I just was like, I was home. When I went into the British Museum and the massive stand of Ramses II, for example, and looking at that face, like I'm looking at a relative, like I'm like, it was so close. And to see how the Europeans had knocked the noses off kind of made me laugh, because it's like, we already know what you're up to. So like, it was a truth, and it helped me ground myself and realize, stay humble. Just because you're related to somebody doesn't mean that's what you are. But when you have that in your DNA and your practice, then you realize why I've made so many important decisions in my life to follow the Red Road, the Native Path, hang out with the Maori people from New Zealand and learn from them, and to try to cross-pollinate as much as possible, to let every indigenous nation in the world know you're not alone, you're not isolated. There are people in Papua New Guinea that, and there's the people in Bogeyville that were attacked and had a war with the Coconut Wars. And the South Senegalese, when they had the Casamance, and there's the soldiers out there that can't come home because, it's a healing time, but it's also, because we have the internet and an ability, time to reach out and grab onto each other really tight, so that when anything goes on, we have each other as that glue that holds us together. So knowing that I'm from that ancient Egyptian background, and really the beginning part of it, And that's a part of me. I felt that was an affirmation of being more than just a person that follows the, as the Lakota say, the Wasichu blueprint, because I don't really follow that, the white man's blueprint. And I mean by the Wasichu, I don't mean like every white person, because there's beautiful people all over the world. I don't separate, humanity. Like, we're just human beings. Like, we're fallible. Don't get your ego, because the Creator can cut your light out at any time.
You also found out, you were telling me earlier, that part of your DNA is also white, no?
Yeah, I got some Italian and I've got some British. And I lived in England, and I was in love with Italian girls. When they start talking, I was like melting. I can hear violins like Lujan, like...